In this lesson, we will see how we can implement the roof in a different format. Now, let's try to talk about a very simple thing that I have constructed one simple room. You can just check out. I have designed one room with the outdoor dimension as a 4 meter and 7 meter. And here, if you see the object in 3D, this is how it is supposed to be. Okay, so the section also you can check out. So altogether the height of this wall is supposed to be 3 meter. So let's see how we can implement the sloping roof for this in a different format. Now the first of all I'm going to talk about the single pitch. That is a slope which will travel only on one side. Maybe you can consider this as the lower end of the roof and this can be the higher end of the roof. Okay, so what we have to do is you just have to make sure you have to load the roof tool. Once you load the roof tool in the geometry and positioning, the first part is nothing but your uh, location of the pivot line. Now remember, the pivot line is the kind of a logic which ArchiCAD is going to use to place the roof with respect to your current story or a working level. So you just refer the sketch. It is properly shown that this is supposed to be your working plane and this is the pivot line. With respect to that pivot line, your roof will get adjusted for its incline angle. So that angle can be as per your choice. So right now the 3 meter is supposed to be the pivot light location from the current story, that is ground floor. I will change this, I will make this as a 2700 as my pivot line location. After that, on the right side, you can check out there's a structure which is a basic and composite. We'll continue with the basic option. And then once you choose the basic, then you have to define the thickness of the roof. Remember, if you are there in the composite will have a predefined. So I'm going working with the basic. Now the roof thickness can be get determined with the two logics, perpendicular or vertical to the floor. Okay. So this is the vertical and this is the perpendicular to slope. Okay, so here I'll try to go with the 150 as the roof thickness, and the building material which I have chosen is a reinforced concrete. So you can identify this building material as per your choice. Now you have a two methods to construct, that is geometry methods, that is single pitch roof, or you have a multi-plane roof, that is single plane or multiple plane. So I'll be working with the single plane, and here the angle for the slope you can determine for the roof pitch. So which can be get worked with the percent or degree combination. So if you work with the percent, or you can work with the degree combination also. So by default it is working with the degree, and if you work with the percent, you can understand whatever is the horizontal length which you travel in xy plane, same will be considered towards the height, because the angle was 45. Okay, so height of the triangle and the base of the triangle are going to be same. If you talk about as a 100%, that is 45. So choose whatever is suitable for you. Remember, if you're working with the feet inches as your main unit system, then there will be a third option also, which is nothing but how many inches upward travel distance you would like to record if you travel horizontally as a maybe 12 feet or something like that. So you can try that if in case you change the unit system. So right now I'll just try to change this for 25 degree, and then rest of thing I'm not going to change anything over here. You just check out, there's a layer name which you can find out, that is the shell roof is the layer name on which the element will get placed. I'll say okay for this. Moment you say okay, you can check out you have the geometry method already chosen as a single plane, and then you have a choice of working with the construction method also, which we have taken as a rectangle because my room is rectangular. Now you can have a polygonal or rotated rectangle also. So anyhow, let's try to read the prompt. It is written at the lower left corner of your screen, that is enter first node of the roof pivot line. Now remember, roof pivot line is an imaginary vector which you have to place somewhere in your drawing, with the help of which the height of the roof and the what you can say pitch direction can be get finalized from these ArchiCAD end. So I'll try to place this my first node of the pivot line inside the room, that is 2700, the lowest height which I want to achieve. I want to place on this edge of the room. So I'll just click over here as one point. Remember, the length of the pivot line is not important. the direction of the pivot line is very important. Okay, so whether you try to draw a very small segment or a large segment, but the direction is important. So I can even place it to the half of this wall length or a full length. So I'll just go for a full length for a while. Now you can read, it is written that click for the upward pitch of the roof. That means where the this eyeball cursor indicates which side is the upward direction for the roof's pitch. That is the slope, upward slope. Okay, so I will try to click inside the room because this becomes my lower end and this becomes my higher end. So I just want to click inside the room. How far you clicking is immaterial. So you just click on the required side of the pivot line. Now you can read the prompt. It is written enter first node of the rectangle roof. Now remember, if in case for some reason you want to achieve the projection of the roof on all the four sides of the room after completing this command, you can take the benefit from the coordinate and the control box palette, or later also you can work on this. So don't worry, by chance you have not added the palette, the way I have added this my control box palette over here, and if you check out the relative construction method, then there is supposed to be the possibility that I can have the perpendicular, parallel. So one option which I can use right now is the offset, single offset. So what will happen, I can right now place the required periphery of my roof, and then the seam can be get offsetted either on the outer or inner side as per my required distance. So if you read the prompt, it is written enter first node of the rectangular roof. I'll just try to click on this lower left corner of the room, and then it is written complete the rectangle roof. So I'll just try to click on the upper right corner of the room. So moment I click these two corners, because my offset was still engaged, it is written enter offset. So I just have to drag my mouse first of all to find out which side of the my roof should get, or where the offset side should be get justified. So I have just dragged my mouse on the outer periphery as per my choice, and the distance which I want to use for the offsetting in the floor plan is 600 millimeter. Remember, this is in XY plane. So moment I enter for this, you can see my roof is constructed. You can see the dotted periphery of your constructed roof. You can even see the this particular your pivot line. There's a small tick which indicates the upward direction of your roof. The same can be get identified in your 3D. You can see how the roof look like now. You can just use the orbit and you can have a look at this particular object. We will talk about the unfinished wall sides and everything in the coming part. But first of all, just make sure that this is how your roof can be get placed with a single pitch. Now, if you want to check whether the exact 2700 was the distance which is achieved for the pivot line from the my drafting plane, you can simply go for the measure tool and you can even check that from this point to this point. You can remember now exactly 2700. So this is how one can place the roof in a very simple format as for the single pitch. In the next part, we'll see the editing of the same and we'll see few more methods also. Once you have constructed this sloping roof, now there are a couple of things which must be hitting to your mind, especially how can I complete this wall projections and they can get adjusted with respect to the roof slope. That's the first point, and then probably the editing of the single pitch roof. So let's talk about this. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to select all the walls with my wall tool. So sorry, you can use the arrow tool and you can select all the four walls. Now these four walls which I have selected, if you check out their settings, they are right now engaged up to the terrace level, that is 3 meter is their maximum height. But if you talk about my roof, the lower end of the roof was 2700 with respect to 25-degree slope, the other side is going to be much higher. So what I'm going to do, either you can remove this particular your top link, or that means not link you can use, or otherwise you can add some projection. So I'll just try to say that maybe I'm adding this 2 meter as an additional projection. So total 5 meter is supposed to be the new length of this particular wall. So if you just now go back and see your 3D, this is how now it is supposed to be. The box is trying to pop out of this sloping roof. Now it's not hard and fast that all the four walls should have the same height. It's nothing but they should try to go above the sloping roof, so that the trimming process now which I'm going to show you, which will help you to get the exact appearance. So same thing if you check in your section, now your wall is actually trying to project above the sloping roof. Now how I can work for this? So what we have to do is, it's nothing but even in 3D also you will work, or if in your floor plan also if you work, it's okay. I'll explain later like why this roof line was in a dash, why it is not in the firm line. Actually, you can travel in the next story and you can see what exactly it is supposed to be. You can notice that your roof was shown with some kind of a tile effect with up to certain extent. Then there is some cut area, and then there is supposed to be the upper projection. This can be get a little bit explained later. Right now, you don't have to worry about that. So back to my ground floor, where I can see all my roof lines along with the wall also. So if I select this walls and my this roof together, and if you give a right click, there is an option which you can see. There's one option which they have added, is nothing but you can have the connection, and that connect option is nothing but shows that trim elements to roof or shell. Okay, this is the one option which you can directly pick from the context menu, or otherwise the same can be get opt from the pull down menu design, and then also you can try to go for the connect, and from there also you can go and say that trim elements to roof or shell. So it's a very simple logic. You just have to go and click on this, and moment you click, there will be a prompting for you because you have selected the two elements together. Remember, if you just select the roof, and if you just select and go for this option, or if you just select the wall, then you have to even indicate which element you want to use for the trimming element, and so on. So here I have done this particular task very simple, that both the target and the operator I have selected together. Okay. So select trimming roof and shell is the prompting. Use roof shell from the current selection. That's the reason I'm going to say continue. If you say select different roof shell, obviously then you have to go and work for that. Now remember, moment I'll say trim, the work is done. By default, the lower side of this particular roof was considered to be get preserved. That is, the wall is getting preserved, which is below the roof level. There is a choice also that one can actually trim the upper portion or lower portion, but you can try this first of all. So it's a very simple thing. I hope you have understood now how to work for the trimming part. Okay, and in future if you try to rework for the slope of the roof, say for example if I select the roof in my floor plan, you can see how the selected element look like. You can see the pivot line location, the upward direction, and the periphery of the roof. Okay, and if I just try to say that no, I want to work with some different angle, maybe I'll work for say 35 degree, and if I say okay, you will see that automatically your roof is now getting readjusted, and the trimming portion here it is supposed to be. Now there is a small gap just because my height of the wall 2 meter or 5 meter was not sufficient, okay, for the projection. One can even try to do this editing directly in the 3D also. So if you select this object in 3D, and if you try to click on the node of this roof, you will see that there are several options in your pet palette. One of the option is nothing but change roof pitch. So if you click on this, you have a choice to determine the sloping angle. So if I take to this, I'll put as a 20 degree slant angle, and you will see that how this is getting reworked. So this is the benefit of what you can say trimming elements along with the roof. It's a what you can say, it's like a hot linking in the sense, if there is a change in the roof for its placement, orientation, and so on, the trimming element will get automatically readjusted. That means the wall will get reworked automatically. Okay, you have a choice of adding the column beams and all those stuff, which probably will talk in the next part.